So he's the one with the building.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for being here. Is everybody okay, microphone-wise? Okay. Again, thank you so much for being here. Before we get started, I do want to say that Pensacola has lost a true champion and a change maker with the passing of Reverend Powell. I've gotten the chance to know him in the latter few years in this position, and certainly a wonderful man and so passionate about impacting the lives of Pensacolians and especially our youth. So I haven't had the opportunity publicly until today to say that, and certainly didn't want this opportunity to go by. Was a wonderful man and did so much for our community. To today's event, I have the distinct honor to formally introduce and welcome Pensacola Police Department Acting Chief Kristin Brown. Chief Brown has spent 29 distinguished years with the Pensacola Police Department and is currently our most senior captain. She has spent the last 5 years in administration, overseeing vital operational activities like training, personnel, finance, and the department's reaccreditation efforts. While all of that experience will be vital to PPD in the coming months, what you see in here today when you look around this room is how much respect and admiration this department has for Chief Brown. This tells you everything about her service to Pensacola. Captain Eric Goss, a 27-year veteran of PPD, will continue to serve as acting deputy chief as Deputy Chief Kevin Chrisman remains out on medical leave. It's safe to say that all of us in this room are hoping for a full and speedy recovery from Deputy Chief Chrisman. I want to commend Chief Randall for his service to the city. This is a difficult job, maybe the most difficult we have. You are responsible for the safety and the well-being of this city. I always have the utmost respect for someone willing to answer that call, and that goes for Chief Randall and each and every PPD chief before him. It is the epitome of service, and we thank him for his contributions during his tenure. I wish him nothing but the best in his future endeavors. While I understand this decision may have seemed abrupt externally, if you know me well, we don't make decisions flippantly or without data. I was elected to work for the 55,000 people who live here. In this strong mayor form of government, to serve our constituents effectively, my primary function is to serve and lead the 850 people who work for the city of Pensacola, including the 170 sworn officers among the 230 PPD employees. I cannot serve the 55,000 effectively if the people who proudly wear a badge or the city seal or the city logo aren't confident in the direction of leadership and can show up consistently unengaged as they serve the public. My administration has been in conversations around our long-standing expectations for PPD, specifically in both the trust and confidence in leadership and employee engagement that has been measured each year and in the 3 years prior to my service. Those expectations set inside the building had not been met to an agreed upon standard over months and years of time, and we mutually agreed to part ways last week. Again, that fact of function does not change my respect and appreciation for Chief Randall as a person or about his dedication to Pensacola. Today is about the future, and I want all of our citizens to know that Chief Brown and her leadership team have my full confidence to guide our police department with integrity and effectiveness. She and every member of the department will ensure that the highest standards of law enforcement are upheld, and they will continue to build strong relationships between our officers and the citizens they proudly serve. We will continue to keep our citizens safe, to strive to improve our employees' trust and engagement, and measure our success or opportunities for improvement every step of the way. It is my distinct honor to introduce to you Chief Kristin Brown.
Good morning. Thank you for being here, members of the press, my brothers and sisters. Mayor Reeves, thank you. Thank you for your confidence in my ability and giving me the opportunity to serve the city on my way out like this. Thank you. My name is Kristin Brown, and I have worked for the city at the Pensacola Police Department for over 29 years. And this is an unbelievable, unexpected honor that I get to hold this position and see my coworkers, brothers and sisters, and other members of the department and the city grow with us as we go through this transition. So, as you can imagine, there was a ton of emotions that I was feeling and going through, and from excitement to unbelievable nervousness to happy. And then the one that was really in the background of it all was the confidence. And this police department, the city of Pensacola, has unknowingly maybe trained me to do this job. They've had confidence in me. They have given me the education. They have given me the training to move forward and work with my brothers and sisters on moving this department forward. Immediately, I knew when Mayor Reeves explained the position to me, I would have two responsibilities. And really that's it in a nutshell, two responsibilities. The first one is to you, Pensacola. I have a responsibility to keep you safe and to keep you happy in your communities and to move your community services forward. And my second responsibility is to my brothers and sisters in this department, to give them the resources and the support they need to go out and serve you every day like they have been 24/7 with the service they have provided. When I open that umbrella and I see the city on one side or my community on one side and my brothers and sisters on the other, it's a big umbrella. And now I'm under it and I'm holding it in this position and I'm ready to weather the storms that will come with it and then go through the great days that will come with it. I will be very proud of my brothers and sisters. So I will say Chief Randall had a slew of community projects on the burner, front and back. The command staff is aware of these. We are very supportive of them. They will continue. It might take me a few days to catch up and make contacts to who I need to in the community to make sure they know that these efforts will continue. And I also want to really, when I hit the communities like that, really want to bring in my brothers and sisters that work the streets 24/7. They're the police that you see, not what you see up here. They're the police that you see. And they're the ones that really need your support and your confidence in. You are used to a certain stellar form of police service. That is not going to stop. I only hope that it's going to increase. So with that, those are the two responsibilities I'm focusing on. That umbrella is big. I'm under it. I'm going through it. And we're going to come out and we're going to be ready for it all. I thank you for your time today. I thank my brothers and sisters for being here. I also want to thank the community that has reached out to me since Thursday. It's been overwhelming, and my heart has just been overflowing with the guidance and support that I have received. And I thank you all for that. Thank you very much.
All right. Happy to take any media questions we've got. Yeah.
Mayor, we're hearing in the newsroom that there was a consensus within the department that fellow officers and administrative staff weren't confident with Chief Randall's job. Is that true, that the majority of the department lost confidence in Chief Randall?
I'm not going to speak for the majority of the department. I'll speak to why we measure employee engagement every year in the city, and sometimes more than every year in the city, so we can see what's working well, what our opportunities for improvement are. And by the way, the mayor or the mayor's office is not immune to that. We measure ourselves. How receptive is the mayor's office to needs in other departments, et cetera. So that's what I can speak to. And again, we were very clear with leadership about what our expectations were, really since probably the hour I got here, and that's with every city department. And this department is no different. So when changes are made and we feel like they're warranted, we don't do it because we got one email or over one anecdote or one story. And it's because sometimes you may see that in departments because you don't have data on your hands and you do it consistently every year to understand the pulse of that department or the city at large. So again, there's no mystery to that this was a possibility if we didn't see the set expectations that we had, and we had reached that point. So, but any theories out there, I've heard them all in the last 4 days. anything that has anything to do with ICE, that it has anything to do, absolutely not. There's no ill will, nothing below board that took place and that I'm aware of under Chief Randall, and he's a good man. And my goal, honestly, is to certainly preserve a good man's dignity, which I would do for any police chief here, no matter what happened, because it's a very difficult job to have. So I have the utmost respect for him, and I certainly want him to have great success in his future endeavors. So yes, we are responsive to the data that we saw, but and really it was time to make a decision.
Was there any effort to find a place for him to stay here at DPD, or was there any discussion about that?
No, and I think in most scenarios where you would have a department director, I think that becomes, that conflict would become rather difficult. Frankly, and this goes for I'm speaking generally about the city, I've gotten out of the business of reassignment, and the reason is typically in city governments, local governments, you might see that a lot. And my feeling is if we're moving someone for a reason, moving someone to another department may not necessarily solve the greater issue. That is not speaking, I'm speaking generally about the city, not about Chief Randall. But no, we did not explore any alternative employment or alternative, when you're running the department, I'm not sure that any scenario like that would have proven effective.
Question for the chief. Along Tanner's same line, how do you rebuild that trust and that confidence, like you said, with your brothers and sisters?
It's a great question. I know these officers. I know the professional staff. We have long-term relationships, and that's the first start. Chief Randall had a disadvantage, if you will, coming into a department that we didn't know him, he didn't know us, and trying to build the relationships, which generally they're working, but I feel the hardest step is over for me. I know all my brothers and sisters. I know all the professional staff, and we have a good working relationship. I have worked in every division that is in the police department, so I like the term that the mayor uses. I know all the cobwebs, and I know where the right people need to go.
And follow up to that, the community obviously has had a lot of questions since this happened and felt a lot of confusion. How do you rebuild the trust with them now stepping into this role?
That's very easy. Making contact as soon as I possibly can with them. That's already started. And the programs that I had mentioned that Chief Randall had on the burners, we're going to move forward with those. They're excellent programs. Some were here before Chief Randall, and he just put his spin and twist on it. Others we created while he was here. Acting Deputy Chief Goss is over that particular division, and he makes sure that no one's left out. Every phone call is returned, and we make it happen.
Chief, you said this is on your way out. What do you mean by that?
Well, our city participates in a drop program, and I entered the drop in 2021. So I'm getting pretty close to being done, and at that point I will retire. I will have to leave according to the drop, but that's
what's that day?
That day is January 10th, 2027.
I knew you were that.
So, but a lot can happen between now and then. I expect it to, and I expect for our department to continue the service it's giving, and for our community involvement to be even more deeper.
DC, what's your plan for long term, since obviously Captain Brown's only here through January? Do you intend to seek full instatement for her, approved by council? Do you plan to do a nationwide search? Do you plan to hire internally? Of course, Kevin Christman's out on leave, so just talk about that. Yeah,
lots of moving parts to that. Trying to have dust settling, not only around the change, but Deputy Chief and others. So we are, I would say, our decision for a search is likely, but we are not necessarily in a start it tomorrow type of rush. I really am looking forward to hearing with all of her experience, and she saw the light at the end of the retirement tunnel, and we took it away from her. But I'm most interested in prioritizing an assessment of where we are and what our opportunities for improvement are. Chief Brown, that's really what I'm focused on right now. Obviously, we know that's looming. We know there's some version of a date certain, but again, I want to allow the dust to settle around this. She's here plenty of time and knows backwards and frontwards everything happening here, and so I'm really looking forward to digging in on that and seeing how we can best empower folks here. And I want to address too the question around building trust or speculation the last 3-4 days. From an administrative standpoint, I made that decision because the short explanation because of the respect and dignity that I would want Chief Randall to have. The easiest thing to do administratively would feel the proactive need to lay out some framework of why we've made this decision, and we certainly aren't running from that. I have this equal accountability to the officers in this room that I have to every department director that we have. And so I would rather sit in it for 4 days and let people come up with every conspiracy theory I've heard of why this was happening and do right by Chief Randall, and any department director should expect that from me. So if there's concern or anxiety or disdain over some vision of lack of communication, that was intentional because we wanted to be able to handle that and manage that with the utmost dignity and respect for Chief Randall, which is what he deserves.
A lot of people viewed this as very sudden, but you mentioned that this is something that you've been paying attention to based on the data that pre-exists your mayorship, but also since then. Can you talk about how long this has been a process that you've been working with Chief Randall to try to improve things and maybe course correct? I assume this was not as sudden as it seemed to the community.
Well, again, we measure employee engagement in 18 city departments, or 17, depending on what year it has been when we've merged, every single year. We do it around October. That, as a matter of fact, that began when Quint Studer was the chair of Grover's transition team, and that was a suggestion, one of his recommendations. How I tried to improve that when I got here, so those surveys have existed since, I believe, 2020, 2019, somewhere around there. And that was a great start. Previous to that, we weren't doing that at all. So we had really it was anecdotes and emails, and we weren't really sure where things stood, and that's why it's so important to have that. And that doesn't even speak to the direct correlation of employee engagement and customer satisfaction, whether that's Parks and Rec, sanitation, police, or otherwise. That's why we do it. How we accentuated it was really in two fronts when I got here. Number one, the response rate wasn't high enough. It was about 71% when I got here. It's been 89 or higher since I've been here, because I've set a very clear expectation with every department director that if we can't get our employees to fill it out, then we may not have use for you. And that's how important it was to me. And then what I owed the 850 employees is that they would see the results come back to them, and that they should have a set expectation that we're going to listen and do something about it. And that was, I think, missing in that well-intended first iteration was people were taking a survey and you may never hear about it again. And it was mentioned before, Chief Brown had mentioned it about certainly, I absolutely understand and sympathize with any situation where somebody would come in externally and have to build trust in any type of department. That is a long road. I will say, as we made clear with Chief Randall, that we provided accommodation for that in terms of how quick we would normally react to employee engagement numbers versus how quickly we reacted. This department was an outlier among all 18 other city departments in terms of having a consistent need for improvement there, and we allowed that to prolong a little bit longer because certainly I sympathize with being an outside person trying to come in and build trust inside a building, and especially in public safety. Very fraternal organizations that have a lot of you're saving lives and putting your life on the line every day, shoulder to shoulder with people. I certainly understand and respect that. So, but I'm fully confident that we had given ample runway and ample communication to set what our expectation was. And again, unfortunately, we weren't able to get there. That doesn't mean Chief Randall isn't a good leader. It doesn't mean that Chief Randall isn't a good person. And we set those expectations. We didn't meet those expectations, and that's why we're here today.
Mayor, could you talk about expectations for the new chief with these reviews? Where could the new chief improve where Chief Randall couldn't?
Well, the same expectation, Chief Brown has the same expectation as Chief Randall. And that is that we certainly want an engaged workforce. We want a workforce that comes in with the trust and confidence in leadership, period. So that is where my priority in this department begins. I just shared with Chief Brown before I walked out here. I'm not big on setting a 10-point plan or a 5-point plan for my department directors. Number one, if they can be a department director in the city, they should have a 5-point plan. And I certainly know that, or whatever the number is, certainly know that Chief Brown will equip this department and the mayor's office with that. And secondly, they need to be accountable to those results. Who am I to say, versus 29 years of service, what those 5 things or 3 things or 10 things should be? And if I can't empower and trust the leadership of a department, any department in the city, to be able to come up with that themselves and be held accountable to those results, then I don't have the right person in the job. So I've empowered Chief Brown, Deputy Chief Goss, and captains and all leadership to come tell me what the priorities are in terms of what our opportunities for improvement can be. And then those that we work around those, we agree on those, and then we hold people accountable to those.
Yes.
Based off that question, the mayor keeps mentioning comparable directors in other departments. Why is building trust in this agency a little bit different, and why is it so important compared to maybe some of those other departments within the city?
This is a life and death job. That's where the trust is. And yes, we all have our bonds together on the street for life and death. We've got each other. And I have that same bond. And this is a life and death job. They make life and death decisions. They make decisions that aren't always favorable to who the decision making is being done to. And I have to be able to support it, research it, support it even more, and support it to the mayor. And that is my accountability.
Else? All right, I know for other matters, if anybody needs to handle any of those other matters, I'll be sticking around. We'll find a corner in here. Again, thank you to the leadership, to Chief Brown, to everybody here, not for just being here today, but for everything that you do to keep the city safe and keep the city moving forward. So thank you all for your time, and thanks for being here.